All right, good evening and welcome to Futbol En Vivo on Club Deportes, show number 28. We are every week on clubdeportes.com. Follow us on Twitter at Futbol Austin. That's Futbol Austin. Follow Club Deportes at Club Deportes. For all the latest and greatest sports news and commentary, you got to go to clubdeportes.com. That's Josh Wolf's favorite website for Austin FC analysis. I am your host, Eric McCoy, and I am joined by a man who always attempts a Panenka when going for a hat trick. It's David Alvarez.
How do you know that secret? That's like, you know everything.
We have
about Wolf, you know.
I got a lot of inside
information. I hope it's not misinformation.
No, definitely not. No fake news.
Very popular lately.
I'm also joined by a man who is organizing a search party to help locate Washington Caruso. It's Jorge Chavez.
I miss that guy. Somebody, we're going to have to put milk cartons out, something, because
we might have to. It's getting a little
staple
serious.
Things in posts or something.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little serious, a little weird.
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah, our pal Washington, he's gone
definitely.
missing. Okay, you guys, it's Power Trio this week. First time it's been just us three in a little while. It's good. Feels good to be back here. Since we last aired, Austin FC, they've actually lost not once, but twice. And so, David, I know these are your best shows. The team's in a bit of a slump. They're struggling. This is when it's your time to shine. This is when you really put on your best performance.
Okay.
And so, Austin FC lost not once, but twice. Both matches were weather delayed.
Yeah.
And both matches featured a misfiring Austin FC attack, I think it's fair to say. The most recent of these defeats was a 3-0 defeat away to Nashville. You got any thoughts on this match, David? I'm sure Jerry's going to be playing the highlights for us here in just a moment.
Unfortunately, but yes.
Do I have thoughts? Yeah, I mean, we have two games,
look at he's got both of them. Jerry's got both
2-1,
defeats
3-0.
Wow.
And the Portland one, both of them, set pieces make us win the first game against LFC, and set pieces got us in both of these games.
Giveth, set pieces, taketh away.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what happened. I mean, and Alvarez said it before the game, before the Portland game. The coach for Portland said that everybody knows how Austin play, and everybody knows where the weak areas are, and we need to explode those areas. And it specifically was the set pieces and the defense. And he said it before the game.
Yeah.
And the kids say, don't ask me more about that because that's what's going to happen. But they need to be very concentrated, right? They need, and they were. But this is this next game, right?
The Nashville.
The Nashville game, the last one.
That was a disaster of a game.
And that to say,
wow.
But Komanich here had a great shot. I mean, he has a great set piece we start with, and then what's a great save. I mean, he the goalie got it. He went up. The ball was going really fast. It was a really good shot.
Yeah, that was going in definitely.
Yeah, but then you have this. You can see how fast.
Yeah, this has been a theme in these matches.
Yeah,
he very open.
There. Yeah, but also they wanted speed. I mean, he beat Gallagher. He beat Gallagher in the race.
And Cascante and Gabrielson look really slow.
Yes.
Yes.
I think we're going to get into Julio Cascante in depth in a bit. That's a little teaser for our audience there.
But yeah, I mean, Austin FC definitely had their chances in the first couple of minutes there, first 20, 30 minutes, but it looks like they just got tired. Their energy level just disappeared.
Which is interesting because we
have
again,
look at this corner. Look at that set piece. Look at that. Like the guy, he was not even there. Zimmerman came running from the other side, from the other post.
Who did he run by, David? You know?
But he went from the other post to the other post. Like, look at, he runs from across the entire.
He goes by number 18 right there. Julio Cascante.
Yeah, but there was nobody with him. I mean, come on. He beat him, and he did it. Almost did it again.
And to be fair,
he misfired the second time. I think there's another.
And to be fair, I mean, Zimmerman is a U.S. men's national team.
He's a very good player.
He's going to be the starter for the World Cup. He's a very, very good player.
Look at that, Gabrielson. Gabrielson tried to stop that ball instead of head the ball out. You need to head the ball out. He tried to control with his chest in the area, and then you never do that. Get the ball out of there.
I knew you wouldn't disappoint this week, David. I knew you'd be fired
Gabrielson, that was like
especially
with
let's admit
Get the
it
head
now.
out.
He's now Mukhtar is now the front runner for the MLS for the MVP. You don't forget that guy. Gabrielson should know better than to put his back. And he should know, obviously know where he's all the time.
And then that was so close by Drew's team.
That was also. I mean,
it was a great set piece. And
it was a good reaction by Drew.
Rigoni is taking the set pieces. Obviously, it seems like he's taking it, and
they
that was a great save.
They weren't too
great
terrible,
save,
but yeah,
great save. And again,
and then this play.
And 2 against 2, right? 2 against 2.
2 against
and
2.
we lost.
Pretty much 2 against 1.
Because they were the only 2 guys in front for them. They could have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And they only had 2, and we got beaten really bad.
Yeah.
I think Mukhtar, all the credit to him because he was the man of the match.
Mukhtar,
most definitely.
And the assist, I think.
Yeah, the assist, yeah. And
I think he hit the
corner. And he started this
too,
one.
So.
And it's a machine. It's a machine. And
yeah,
all our weakness is showing there, right?
And how about this here at the end from Musa
Yeah,
Gite?
it showed a little bit of fire, but a little bit of embellishment by Walker, by Zimmerman, sure.
Unnecessary.
But he just got frustrated.
Was unnecessary by both. I mean, I think he wasn't even a.
So he gets 2 yellow cards here, which I think is harsh, right? I think
that's too harsh. He didn't have any intention to do that. No, but that reaction was really bad.
I feel like
you don't do that to the ref.
I think wanted to. He wanted to be the star. I think here at the end. I think one yellow.
But
is fine.
how long did Gite play? How many minutes did he play?
He came in the
Gite came on in the
65th minute.
About 25 minutes.
So he had enough time to I mean, I wasn't sure when he came in because he was maybe he needed to adapt to the game, but I guess by that time he was already well adapted. Yeah, no,
that should have been adapted.
Yeah, I mean, there's an error by the referee there, and obviously by Gite reaction.
Yeah, no excuse to slam the ball, but 2 yellows for that.
Yeah,
that's
and you know, Portland is fighting still for its playoff spot, so you knew they were going to come out fighting. And Nashville is playing for something similar. They won the first home playoff game.
Yes.
So they're both fighting for their individual playoff hopes. And also the coaching staff should have recognized that these guys are going to be in a different level than, say, an LAFC, because LAFC could afford to lose the game if they wanted to.
Yes.
And they didn't play with the same intensity. And I think Austin FC put too much energy in that game that they didn't have enough for the rest. And they just sort of thought, oh, well, we beat LA, we'll beat everybody else. No, that's not the way it works. You're a coach.
Yeah.
You can attest to this kind of stuff where you have a good couple of results, and then the bottom falls out from under you for the next couple of games.
Yeah, well, that's when I keep repeating the Alvarez interview because actually it started
he's a good coach. I mean,
because they asked him, and it's the only team we lost twice, right? I believe.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
but he also was talking about the big game they just won. Against
Galaxy,
Seattle.
It's
It's a big game for them.
Yeah.
So the question was, how you keep the team up after such a big win?
Yeah.
Right? And that was the main question. And it's the same question you're asking me, right?
Josh Wolf should have been taking notes.
We should get the next question for Josh Wolf next time we go to Q2 Stadium, right? How do you keep up that momentum? Because
from one game to the next.
And Portland was able to do it.
Yeah.
Right? It was able to do it from the big game. But we had the big game against LFC, the perfect game probably. The best game of the year. And then
best game ever. I think
probably.
And then the next 2 games we have slump, a big one. It shows all our weaknesses that the team usually have when we lose the games.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know about the numbers. Maybe you are good at numbers. What was the number in possession and
Well,
and
it was 59% possession for Austin FC in this match against Nashville, and it actually had 70% possession against Portland. And so I actually have a question. I'll ask this to you, Jorge, first. Teams playing a low block. I think this has been a theme for us.
Yeah.
They've really struggled against teams playing a low defensive block.
Right.
And these last 2 matches are perfect examples of that. 59% possession against Nashville, 70 against Portland. Just why do you think this team struggles so much against teams that want to sit deep against them?
I think part of the struggle is, and I hate to say it, is Ethan Finley. And the reason I say that is because he's not the same player he was several years ago. I mean, 2015, 16 was probably his best years. So he's slower. So they're able to contain him. And if they are able to contain him, then they have 3 other guys that are able to contain Fagundes and Driussi. That's 2 against 3. It's very difficult to do that. So, and you jested, but a Washington Corozo that has that speed to go wide and play along the back line or the front line, that stretches out the defense, and that makes it easier for the other midfielders to go in. But Fagundes doesn't really do that. He's more of a central type place with Driussi.
Yes.
And Finley just doesn't have the legs or the speed to do that.
I think he's someone that whenever teams are pushing forward a bit, Finley is great at running in behind those defenders.
Right.
When those defenders are already sitting back, you can't
he's
really
got-
run in behind
he's
them.
got
if they're
nowhere to
already-
go.
Exactly, nowhere to
He's
go.
got nowhere to go.
And he's not going to beat anyone off the dribble. He's not
No.
really going to get into those good goal scoring positions inside the penalty
Right.
area. So yeah, he doesn't really serve much of a purpose, which is
It's like a poacher, you mean?
well, I think he's the type of guy
He's
like
an
you have the opposition is pushing forward and
Yeah.
you are looking to play a ball in
Yeah.
behind the
Right.
back line. He's going to be the one that makes that run. I
He's
think he's the
yeah.
only one in Austin FC that
Yeah.
makes that
He's
run.
really
I mean,
good
he's
at that,
pretty good at it.
But
but
if the opposition's
Yes.
sitting deep, where's he going to run?
he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly. Nowhere to go.
And so that bodes well because some teams like we don't play a low block.
No.
We know that our
Definitely
left wings
not.
and right wings
Should
are
maybe
gonna
consider
go
playing
forward.
a slightly lower block.
We should
the way
maybe
teams are
think
countering
about it,
against
but
Austin
because
FC right now.
because if Alvarez was able to figure it out and teams now have tape on how to do it, it's going to be more difficult if you keep playing the same type of technique. And so again, this is part of the learning process. That
But
Coach
what I
Coach-
have to notice that we did not have the first starting 11 against Nashville.
it was
Okay,
a
this is for
different
the first
one.
time
Yes.
we actually saw
That's
a
right.
bit of squad rotation. David, there you go. There was the starting 11 against Nashville. I have to ask you, David. We all three have been kind of begging for just some kind of
Yes, a
rotation.
little
We
bit.
finally see it,
Yeah.
and I
It
didn't
got-
personally like what we
it
saw
got
in this
bad,
match.
yeah,
Does this
and-
kind of validate that the regular 11 that we have been seeing is in fact the best 11 that Austin FC have?
Which one is the best? This one?
No.
Definitely
no,
not this one.
no,
The
no.
one that we
The
saw.
other
I mean,
one.
the one that I've been
The
playing.
previous,
I mean,
the one they've been having
yeah, I mean,
like 5-6 straight games.
Yes.
but no, 6, right? 6.
I think it was-
yeah,
I think
6
it's
games. But yeah, definitely, that's. I mean, it's better lineup.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
mean,
better lineup. But against this team again, we
So
need.
they're the Jerry.
That's the
an astute producer right there that's put
That's
up
the
the
real
11
lineup.
against the real
Yeah.
11 right there
Yeah.
against LAFC, and yeah, that is I think
that's
the-
the best.
Yeah,
I mean, we
because
have.
when I saw Nick Lima as on watching the corners, I was like, what? Nick Lima?
Yeah,
is
he's
there?
not starting.
no,
yeah.
we had Jean Kolmanic in at left back, which moved Gallagher to right back. Kolmanic, Jorge,
Yeah.
not good, I don't think. He was 0 for 4 from crosses in this match. Against a low block, you really like the fullback who's is supposed to be a pretty good crosser. And we've seen in the past,
Yeah.
he can be a good crosser. You'd really like
can.
to see him
Excellent crosser.
connect on a few of those.
Yeah.
I think he really disappointed in this match.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
But the only thing he had was the free kick that was really close.
He
Yes,
did have.
in
He
the
did have.
second
he did have-
minute of the match,
He
he
did
did
have
have a
his
free
moments,
kick
but
that was
overall,
close.
he seemed to disappear.
Yes.
Again.
Exactly.
And-
He subbed
and,
off in the 55th minute.
Replaced by Jimenez, I think.
Lima came in.
Lima came in.
Lima went to right back, and then
Right.
Gallagher went back to
Right.
left.
And that
What time did
they really should
Rigoni
stop
came
doing
in?
that. Geller has more than
65th.
proven his worth that at the new position. They should just leave him there to continue to get experience back there because he's really good back there. They should leave it alone because especially now that they have Hector Jimenez back, they can switch between him and Nima all day long as much as they want. But one thing that I did notice was Danny Hosen. It's another player that disappeared.
I was just
He
about
was-
to ask.
He
Yes.
was. I believe Maxi Urruti did not play because he's injured.
Hamstring injury
Yeah,
against
that he got
Portland,
against
which is
Portland.
perhaps. I mean, as much as we now don't want to see these backups play, that is
Yeah,
the reason
we-
why you did want to see it because
Yeah.
the hamstring injury. You
Right.
picked that up from playing too
Yeah,
much. And
I think
what
Cole-
happened.
I
Do you
think
think so?
I think that's probably played some kind
But
of
I-
role.
in
I mean,
that-
I'm not
I
a
don't know what happened in that Portland game.
medical
when-
expert
You
by
know, in
any
the Portland
stretch.
game, he had one clear chance to score and he put it away. I don't really
Yeah.
remember that, and he really knew
yeah,
that
he
messed it up.
messed
could
it
have-
up.
Yeah.
He could have had it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know if that happened then or not.
And so those are the opportunities that Hosen's going to lament not taking advantage of. He could have really cemented a place for more minutes if he had played well. And I don't know if it was a low block that they couldn't get the crosses to him.
I think, okay, there's a couple of things that I think may have affected him. I think really he's at his best whenever the opposition is pressing high and he can kind of drop in between the lines and receive the ball to help Austin FC build play up. I don't think he is the best striker for a low block, certainly against like a Walker Zimmerman, who's just an absolute monster.
Yeah.
I also think, and you guys can weigh in here, but I think Owen Wolff did not have the most impressive of matches.
I mean, really, I failed to see any player that had a good game in Nashville, to be honest.
What's interesting about Wolff?
But some stood out more than others.
Yes.
And I just, all the kudos to Nashville too.
They played a great match. They're
a really
great
good team.
game.
They are really a good team.
And you know, what was that? They have so many chances. They have way more chances. They have more shots on goal than we did.
They had 15 shots total, 6 on goal. Austin FC had 10 shots, 5 on goal.
So they have 1 more on goal, right?
Yes.
That's what happened every time we have this happen. We lose the game.
Yeah.
We control the ball, but the other team always have more shots on goals.
Yeah, and I think
it's
so. To kind of circle back to Wolff actually completed 22 of 22 passes in this match.
Yeah.
But I would argue that he was too conservative. That you actually would have preferred him missing a few passes if it meant him taking more risks.
There was one
back
sequence where he could have gone a lot further into the box, and he stopped.
Yes.
Like, no other defender on him. He stopped to try to pass it off. He said, young guy, keep going.
Yes, I noticed that as well. I actually noticed that.
That's how you unbalanced, because once he stopped, the back four were able to set themselves, and the opportunity went away.
Absolutely.
If he could have kept going, there would have been some confusion back there, and that's when the opportunities are come up. But he stopped inexplicably.
I agree 100%. This is why I want to ask you guys, though, and I'll ask you this, Jorge.
Yeah.
We have been, I think, skeptical of Alex Ring attacking midfielder at various points throughout the season. Does this match perhaps show why he is Austin FC's best option in that more attacking right-sided midfield role?
I believe so. I mean, a lot of people have been critical because in MLS, a DP is expected to be a scoring machine. He's not expected to. I mean, if he doesn't have assists or goals, he's a failed DP. But there's players that do a lot of the little things like what Ring does. And I talked when Ring was traded to Austin FC from NYCFC. The guys from the Cooligans actually told me that we got a really good player, but don't expect him to score goals. And that's exactly what happened. He's not expected to score goals. He would love to score more goals. Any player would like to score more goals. But he knows that maybe that's not his job. His job is to create chaos, both on offense and defense. And so he takes players away from either the attack or the defense because he's that good of a player. That opens up everybody else. And this kind of stuff, I mean, people just don't recognize how important Ring is, not necessarily on the stat sheet, but just his presence. And
but I have to say that he was very responsible for the second goal.
Mistakes happen.
Well, that wasn't great, but just to kind of like echo.
From the game. He was responsible for that. And he had a clear chance to score too.
He also had a clear chance.
Yeah, that does happen, and I do think in terms of actually scoring goals, assisting goals, you would perhaps like a bit more from your attacking midfielder.
True.
But just what you were saying, Jorge, I was looking up some numbers before we got here tonight. Ring is in the 89th percentile amongst MLS midfielders as far as touches in the attacking penalty area. That's from FBrep.com. He's in the 84th percentile for progressive passes received. So like you said, he's a chaos agent.
Yeah.
He gets on the ball in dangerous areas, and that is exactly what we didn't see Owen Wolff do in this match.
He did not do that. And it's partly...
you love those stats, don't you, Duffy?
I love it.
Your brain is just, oh, man, just jumping up and down.
As good as Wolfito is, he needs a position.
Because Papa's got to stop moving him around.
He moves him all over the place, and he's not getting the repetition and probably in practice that he probably needs
Jeez.
to solidify a position.
Is that
so
tough
he puts
for-
them all over the place, and that's just not going to work.
Is that tough for a young player, David, to be bouncing around? Do you want just like a set position, or do you like getting a little bit of everything?
Well, I like players that can play everywhere. That's the main thing.
But as a young player, he's trying to get his feet in the league.
Exactly what you're saying is like I'm thinking about my son that he plays, that we cannot decide. He is a very good forward, but he doesn't have it. I don't think they have all the skills they need to forward. But then we're thinking about maybe midfielder. It could be a great defender too for his height. But it's like when you're young and you're still developing, we don't know how your body's going to develop. And in this case, this is exactly the case with Wolves. It's not totally fully developed. And
do you think his own dad is unsure of what his best position is?
I think that's what is happening.
Yeah.
They're trying to find out what is the best position for him in the case. I think that's I feel for it because it happened to me.
Well, speaking of Wolf, I've been informed by our wonderful producer Jerry Lopez. We have Josh Wolf and Brad Stuver interview clips that we can air.
This should be fun
for our wonderful audience here. So let's see if Jerry can get those fired up. I know you always love hearing from Josh Wolf, David. You always.
I see Stuver too. I like Stuver.
Okay, we got Stuver.
Start with
first.
Stuver.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Hi, Brad. I know you say that these kind of games give you an extra motivation. You're a leader on the team. How do you help the team to get back on track?
A lot of us have been in MLS playoffs. A lot of us have gone to MLS Cup in some capacity, and the guys that haven't, they've played in Europe, they've played in Champions League, they've played in Europa League relegation battles. So we have a good locker room of guys that kind of understand what it takes to grind out the rest of the season. And it starts just with all of us kind of taking responsibility of little moments in the game where we can be better. And we all hold each other to a high standard. No matter what happens on the field, we're going to be together through it all, and we're going to fight for each other, and we're going to put every last effort we can to win games. And when things don't go your way, it's no time to put our head down and sulk, but it's our time to pick ourselves up, take a hard look in the mirror about what's going on, and be really brutally honest with yourself about how you're playing and how you can bring out the best in yourself. I think being the hardest critic on yourself is the best way for all of us to keep each other at the best standard that we can.
And games like today's game, when you see, we saw that the defensive part, it wasn't coordinate. Or how do you talk to them in the middle of the team? In the middle of the game to try to make them, focus or something. What do you saw today on the defensive part?
Yeah, in matches, it's very difficult to communicate on the field, especially in atmospheres like Nashville. And obviously at Q2, your voice doesn't carry more than 2 yards. So it's one of those things where you have to be really tuned in and you have to be very aware of your surroundings. Obviously, when we go down a goal, we get a little bit more anxious about going forward, and we obviously want to score that goal to tie it up. And we have a chance to clinch playoffs tonight. So obviously we wanted to do that for the club and we wanted to do that for ourselves. So we were very offensive minded in that regards after we gave up the goal. I think you saw in the first half how compact and how organized we were. And we just needed to bring that same energy that we had in the first half out in the second half. But giving up an early set piece goal there in the second half kind of changes the way you view the game and how you have to approach it. And just for the guys, it's more just sticking to what we know, sticking to the principles of who we are as a club, how we want to play the game, and how we want to score goals and defend. It's just something that we need to realize that giving up one goal is not the end of the world. We can come back from that. We've come back from that multiple times throughout the year. It's no different. We just have to stick to what we know and stick to who we are.
Caring for me. Come on, buddy. Come on. Give me
Josh.
something caring.
Well, first of all, I think we're in playoffs. I think the team is in playoffs. But I know you talk already a little bit about the first and second goal. What do you, in general, what do you think about the defensive work on the last two games?
Jorge, I think it's been pretty good. We gave up two set pieces against Portland. They're a set piece transition team. And, having looked back on that Portland game, we were getting transitioned oftentimes on our own offensive set pieces. So that's something that we can clearly clean up. And, we got to get better at it for sure. These two teams are very similar in their nature. Physical, good size, long throws, set pieces, corner kicks, extremely good. Zimmerman's one of the best in the league. Tuoloma, McGraw, their guys last week were a handful. It's something we got to get better at. I mean, we're not the biggest team, but we can compete. We have our own way of hurting teams as well in those set pieces. But the defending, if we're talking about our high press and kind of our mid block, we do a decent job with all of that. So, through run of play, I don't see us giving up a ton of chances if that's what you're asking. But on set pieces, we've been beaten too easily in some of these, and we're just giving them away needlessly. I mentioned us having attacking set pieces and that leading to it. That's something that shouldn't be happening. We should be able to clean that up from the starting point, our quality that we're delivering, but also some positioning. Last week, we're right there to make plays at the top of the box, in the box with the numbers that we typically have, and we just didn't. But two teams that there's a recipe there that's hurting us, and we got to learn from it quickly.
And this is a question that I asked about probably 4 weeks ago. When I see you trying and trying to improve in the different lines of the team, but you haven't tested anything on the center back. Do you have that in mind? Focusing on playoffs, or you're gonna stay with Gabrielson and Cascante?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think these guys have performed relatively well over the course of the year. I think we brought in Johan a couple times, and and Kip as well. There's some inconsistencies there with Kip. He is young, so he's got a bright future. He's got we got a long-term view with him. He's got to keep gaining physicality and certainly understanding offensively and defensively. But he's going to be somebody here that's going to be part of Austin FC for a long time. Julio and Ruben do a very solid job. When we give up goals, it's not our center backs. I mean, it's our whole team. So I know you deliciously put together a nice rendition for Julio online, which I thought was really it showed a lot of character, and I think that's tough to see for our guys, but that's what you chose to do. He's had some tough moments, but he's had some great moments. He's a superhuman being, and him and Ruben have a great partnership, and they killed themselves for this club and this organization. And unfortunately, it's not received that way from everyone. But these are good players, and we make mistakes, but we got to move on, and we got to get after the next game.
So this is nothing personal. It's always talking about soccer. But so you think Gabriel and Julio are the best we have right now?
I think Julio and Ruben are doing a good job for us.
Okay, thank you, Josh.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
First off, just incredible questions.
Yes.
Whoever is asking those questions,
Yeah,
give that guy a raise. That guy's asking
that guy?
some brilliant stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just get right down
Yeah, let's
to
get
it, you
into
guys.
it.
There was a video posted by our parent company here, Club
Yes.
Deportes, Jorge Chavez, our godfather, our
Yes,
fearless
our-
leader.
El padrino.
It was all about Julio Cascante, just different misadventures, shall we say, that he's had throughout the
he's had a
season.
few. He admits it himself.
Yes, he has, and there was some kind of jaunty music that was accompanying the airs,
Little
maybe
comical
Benny Hill
type of
kind of
thing, yeah.
style
Yeah,
music that was
sure.
going on there. Personally, I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was malicious by any measure.
No.
Others did, and I want to get you guys' thoughts. Jorge, it sounds like you're kind of in agreement with me on this.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I did a little chuckle because
I did a big chuckle.
But I didn't think they were going to take it so seriously. Not only the fans, but the players apparently took it personally.
Yes.
And that's a little worrisome to me because
I think you might
these
have
are
a
professional
point.
guys that if they played in any other country in the world, this would be worse. They'd have photographers in their faces, in their wives' faces, in their children's faces. They do all sorts of mockery and just all sorts of chaos. This is not that. That's just a little jab on little mistakes he's made. So for them to take it seriously, maybe we should.
So we actually got a couple of scarves donated here by my pal Osman Gonzalez.
Yeah.
And we got a Chelsea and a Juventus scarf. And I guarantee you,
Two of my teams, by the way. So
I
kudos to
guarantee
guys.
you, if you look up Chelsea players and Juve players after their matches and see what people are saying on
Oh,
Twitter.
yeah.
It's a little worse than
it's a
than
little
Jorge's
worse.
video.
It's-
But David, what did you think about the video?
Well, we're thinking about. I mean, honestly, I didn't see the video. I mean, I did not see the video. And then,
What are you doing, man? You gotta support. I tell you every week, go to Club Deportes.
No, but honestly, I
doing?
didn't see the video because I saw a little bit of the headlines of the video.
So you saw the
When
reaction.
the headlines and the reaction. I was like, I'm not gonna get to that. But
Okay.
because we have more important things to do, like River Plate, and the teams like River Plate, they take it really serious, stuff like that. And they have a player, I think Pochettino is his name. He just came back from the bench because they have so many injuries because he has not been called in any of the games. He just got called because of injuries, but he was already told that he's no longer in River Plate because they cannot afford the 3 million with a 6 million total pass.
Wow.
So they are not taking Pochettino.
That's interesting.
It's
Slightly
official.
off topic, but
Kind
very
of off topic, but you were talking about how
interesting.
serious people think.
Because Pochettino received a lot of criticism last year. From us
But
including.
that's what I'm trying to say.
for sure,
That's
from
kind of the analogy a little bit because in he's not cutting it in River
Right.
Plate, and that problem is kind of.
I have to say, not surprised.
And it's not that Cascante isn't cutting it here. He's doing a very good job. But errors here and there, they kind of get exaggerated, especially with a team doing really so well this year. But like Jorge Iturralde said in a little bit of the response, it's not personal. It's not being mean-spirited against Cascante.
Yeah.
He's a great player. He's
And then he
a
has
wonderful
improved
guy.
so much from last year.
But
too, so.
and he's one of the more improved players from last year, exactly. So it's more of a testament to it was more of like a teasing kind of thing.
I think teasing.
I didn't take
Teasing
it
is a good word for
as heavy criticism.
But as a corporate defense, right? Like the team is all behind. They don't want criticism. They want to be. So that's what I think. You have to look at that from that point of
That's
view.
true.
They're trying to shield themselves from any sort of criticism because they want to be a team, right?
Yeah.
So you gotta take that point of view from
that is true. In a sense, he was protecting his guy. Yeah. And that's admirable by Josh Wolf's,
I don't necessarily have an issue with Josh Wolf, anything he said there by any stretch. But question I have, and this may cause a bit of controversy, but we're on Club Deportes, so this is what you do when you're on Club Deportes.
Controversy.
Exactly. We invite it.
Yes.
Do you think perhaps the media and the fan base of Austin FC is perhaps a bit soft on this team?
It is.
Okay.
It is soft. They're very defensive.
Because, this is a video that when I saw it here before I saw the controversy. I thought it was funny and didn't really think I would be hearing a whole lot more about this video.
I think it's just kind of one of those things.
Yeah, just something funny that people laugh at on Twitter for a few days. Yeah. But no, I didn't. No. Yeah, Josh Wolf is bringing it up just unprovoked in press conferences.
Don't forget about when I criticized Tuver so much and then one of the fans that was here and Club Deportes, he got really mad about that.
So you've witnessed the sensitivity of this fan base firsthand.
It does. I mean, I do appreciate that sentiment from the fans. I'm a fan.
Yes.
So I would protect these guys.
We say this
with
FC
with everything
fans.
that I have, but I'm also a little bit part of the media side, so I can see that point of view that these guys really need to have when the going gets tough, they have to answer the questions. What happened here? What happened there? Why did this happen? Yeah. And sometimes part of that criticism is stuff like this, little videos. Because I remember, Quesadilla, saludos to Quesadilla. He put out the video about the Redes Challenge where he put, and then kids are starting to do the same thing.
Which was funny.
That's just as mean. That's to me, that's even worse than what happened to Cascante.
Yeah, because Cascante's place in the starting 11 is secure, whereas Redes is a younger player trying to break into Major League Soccer.
Yeah, so if they were so protective about all their players, why did that happen? And why did everybody copy it? Why did everybody think that was funny? But not the Julio Cascante.
So you think
you see the double standard here?
I do, and so you think the reaction to that? Because I saw that, and I did see some pushback against that. But you think the reaction was overwhelmingly laughing, positive about that?
I think so. Okay. Yeah, I mean, again, I know Quesadilla, and he cares the players about as much. He knows a lot of the players, in fact. So he wasn't probably doing it as a personal attack on him. Just more of a same thing what Jorge was doing. Just kind of a little teasing type of thing. But it's just a perception,
What does the fan base have against Jorge Iturralde? That's my question. What do you got against this guy?
Let's ask El Batallón about that.
El Batallón.
They might have some thoughts about that.
But David, in general, though, are you concerned about Julio Cascante, some of these mistakes? I think he was culpable for the Zimmerman goal. He didn't track Zimmerman all the way. And as Iturralde pointed out in his video, there's been a history of mistakes. Are you worried about that? Do you feel concerned about Julio Cascante's defending?
I think the games, the highlights explain everything, right? Like one of the goals went through his legs, right? The last pass went through his legs. And usually most of the errors go through his legs. It goes through.
Yeah,
like,
he's
for some reason he has
feet for that. Yeah,
he needs to start working with doing some samba or something, Charleston, and try to close his leg.
He needs dance lessons.
But at the same time, you could point to any number of plays. Gabrielson, that was a big mistake.
Huge.
Basically, not having the ball with Hani Mukhtar around him.
Yeah, but
there's plenty of.
And the flip side, you have Gabrielson making a huge save against Shara in Portland.
He did.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
You have both of them, and
they
Cascante,
both have very good plays.
And Cascante have very good plays. The problem I see is like when we play fast team that they go in the breakout.
Yes.
We don't have
that is true.
The speed is not there. this guy, the physicality is not there, and the ability, what we need actually is like a small defender that can control the ball and has, what I mean? That's what.
And I thought,
because these two guys cannot do it with the fast teams. They can kill him, and it's amazing. But I gotta tell you,
you're bringing up some good points.
When I saw Nashville play, and the guys run, they didn't score the first run. But it was amazing. The guy overran everybody, but like the people was like knew he was gonna run. It seemed like the people make him run faster. So, what was right about Nashville crowd? He was like, it's a power. Stuver said that.
And that's interesting that Stuver brought that up. That because Katie brought that up as well. That they need to communicate better. But it's difficult to do that in a very loud environment like Q2. They can't do that. So that could, interestingly, contribute to the confusion that happens on defense.
So before we started airing here, I just did a quick look of some stats. And Austin FC, expected goals allowed. That basically just means how the quality of chances that you're conceding as a team. Austin FC, the only team worse in the Western Conference is San Jose.
Right.
So Austin FC are giving up really, really good chances. Yeah. And so I don't know. We've talked about the individual mistakes a lot. I think there are some structural issues as far as how this team defends counterattacks.
Right.
That was an issue last season. Yeah. Big issue last season.
Right.
And it doesn't seem to have been resolved. I'm worried. Look at the goals actual goals this team's given up recently. Yeah. 3 against Nashville, 4 against the Red Bulls, 3 against the Earthquakes, 3 against Sporting Kansas City.
And you can clearly know who made those errors. Those errors were clearly made. But
I think
Stuver was involved in almost every single game he had.
But I actually think Katie, when Katie was here, I think she had a good point that it's a collective issue. A lot of times we're focused on the individual error at the end of a collective breakdown. And so we just focus on that one final mistake, but really there were 2 or 3 mistakes.
Yeah, we don't have rotation. We don't have a rotation in defense. That's what we don't. The bottom line, we don't.
Well, that's actually I think Jorge asked a good question.
Yeah,
it's we've seen rotation now in the upper parts of the starting 11,
and
not
in the left and right back.
Yeah, left and right back, but not at center back. Really.
And I think, but I think the players answered that question themselves. By Kip Keller, he's a young kid. He played the first 2 games as a starter. He did really well, but.
He looked a little off since then.
With
Romagna.
And Romagna, I don't know what's wrong with that guy, but he looks the part, but he's just not playing there. He always seems to get hurt when he starts.
Yeah.
With some hamstring issues or something. And so
doesn't ever quite seem up to fitness.
He doesn't finish games, and that's worrisome.
Yeah.
Because like Jorge Torres said, coming up on the playoffs, you need to know where your backups are. In case Gabrielson or Cascante go down, because they can go down very easily. So what do you have back there? Is it going to be Keller? Is it going to be Cascante. You have to know. So I foresee one of these two guys probably starting a game just to know. But
yes.
it was a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and I think we started this show kind of talking about Austin FC's attack and only one goal in these two matches.
Right.
In general, I think I'm comfortable with how Austin FC are attacking.
Yeah,
defensively are where my
Right.
real concerns lie.
Right, because they play much better when they're ahead, obviously, and I think. We didn't talk about Emiliano Rigoni, but I think
Actually, let's go ahead and talk about him real quick.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure we get to him. So we've seen him twice now,
Right.
as a sub against Portland, sub against Nashville. What are your thoughts, Jorge?
He looks like he's still getting integrated into the team. He's done a couple of very good plays. I think other teams are aware of his speed and his ability to open up wide. So I think that's going to be a good positive for the team. They just need to integrate him as quickly as possible to the attack.
Yeah, kind of like we were talking about with Finley and against low blocks. He just doesn't really have anywhere to go.
And
I think Rigoni
can open up those wide attacks.
Yeah, and I think if you look at Austin FC's attack, it's pretty left-sided heavy. Like you have
Right.
Gallagher is the more attacking of the two fullbacks. He's on the left.
Right.
You have Driussi drifts left. Fagundes on the left.
Yeah,
Urruti
that's
tends to drift left as
right.
well. So if you have someone on the right, that
just
can really
opens-
stretch
exactly.
the opposition and then create more space for those
So
guys.
you want to put Rigoni on the right?
I would, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have? Do you disagree with that, David?
Well, he's a lefty.
Like, and you can see what he can do with that left foot,
He's
cutting
a
in,
lefty.
whipping those crosses,
No,
right?
but
I mean, and also
and I agree with you. But you know what I'm seeing is that we have way too many lefties. But Driussi will compensate anyways. But he's good for set piece. Definitely is an addition for the set pieces. I saw them. He needs to just get more experience. Like the first kick,
right.
The kick was off. The first free kick was really off. But he needs to get. I mean, so the good thing that Wolf decided not to have him in the first game against LFC. I think that's a good idea.
I think that was a good move.
Because he definitely need that adjustment.
Do you have a problem that he doesn't seem like definitely doesn't seem like he's caught up to speed as far as like the tactics of the team. He doesn't quite seem 100% match fit. Do you have a problem with getting him these minutes now while he's still kind of not quite up to speed yet? Because I saw some criticism on Twitter. He's not ready to play. Why are we playing him?
Well, it's something that the coach decide because he's in the practice with them, in the field, during the week. So that the coach will decide that he will know when to play him because the coach. But the fact that he played the last two games, he says something and he's getting up there. I don't have a problem with that. But
how is he going to get match fitness if you're not playing in matches?
Exactly. That was going to be my point. You can only the speed of the game is different than the speed of practice. It's
every player in every league will tell you that.
Yeah, and so the only way he's going to get better if he's actually on the field. So I think Josh Wolf is doing the right thing by giving a little bit more minutes here and there.
The problem is the other players that we're not seeing them. That's the problem. The other players.
I'd rather see him be integrated little by little. Results are going to result. Like Jorge Chavez even said, this is a playoff team. They just need to win that one game to kind of qualify. But now they're in danger of losing that first playoff game at home. So that needs to be that's probably in the back of the minds of the players that they're in second place, they were ahead. Not anymore.
Can we get the standings? Do you have the standings, Jerry? The MLS Western Conference standings? I believe they're still there we go. Yeah, they're still 5 points clear of FC Dallas with a match in hand on FC Dallas, and then 6 points clear of Nashville again with a match in hand on Nashville. So I actually think they're doing okay as far as keeping that second place spot.
But one thing to keep in mind is that we still have a game against Nashville coming up at home.
Yes.
So if these results remain and Nashville gets another win and Austin gets another loss.
Good start to get a Larry.
Then it gets away from them because Nashville, the first three spots, 2, 3, and 4, are obviously going to get a home playoff game. And so they look safe right now. But Dallas and Nashville could go on a good run. And if Austin doesn't fix their issues defensively, they're going to get caught up. And that's the worry that I have.
Is it time to panic after these two losses? Should we really be concerned about where this team is right now?
If they lose against Seattle, it's time to panic.
Okay,
and I will be at that game. So
you will be at that game with
I can't wait to hear what that's like. I can't wait to hear the stories.
I'm a little worried now.
Remember we talked about that not 5 weeks ago, I
Look
guess,
at the
that
unit.
Portland
They're
and Seattle were at the
fire.
bottom of the Western Conference, and look at where they are right now. They always are consistently going back. Same thing with Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
But I think definitely we need to be concerned already with what happened with Portland and Nashville before we go to Seattle. Because we
You're
haven't-
panicking now.
Yeah, I'll be panicking right now because
I wouldn't expect any less of you,
we
David.
wouldn't, because kind we expect this to happen before the LFC game. I was expecting, but
It is so weird. We just have what we all agreed was Austin FC's best ever performance. And here we are a week later,
The
and it's
worst
doom and gloom.
performance,
The
yeah.
worst performance, I
Yeah,
think, this season
against
anyways,
Nashville,
against Nashville.
oh really?
I think the worst performance of this season. Maybe the Galaxy away.
Because we
would
need
be
to look at the Nashville games that are remaining. They have home game against the Galaxy.
These are Nashville
on-
games.
The Nashville games. On the road against us. They have a home game against Dynamo.
We're gonna get to that in a second.
We'll get to that in a second.
They got some news.
And then the last game is against LAFC, which could clinch the supporter shield. So these are all winnable games. Very winnable games for Nashville. So I can foresee 12 more points for these. I mean, even the Austin result could happen. So if they need to start turning the ship around now, because they only have 4 games left themselves, and not all of them are very easy either. So
And you know how Seattle is with that. I mean, the
Well,
last
you
time
care to
Seattle
make some
just
Seattle
won.
predictions? Let's start with you, Jorge.
they got to win. I predict.
Will they win?
No, they got to win.
They got to win, but they won't win.
I foresee a 2-1 game by Austin.
Okay.
I think they see what's happening. They see that they need to keep ahead. They're not going to catch LAFC. They're not. The LAFC, New York City FC. Philadelphia. They're the ones that are going to face off for supporter shield. But we need to secure that second spot.
Yeah, you really want second.
And yeah,
Well, what my prediction is?
Yeah,
That's
what
my
is your
question?
prediction against
I
Seattle?
think to be to learn from our mistakes, and we need to be in crisis. I think we're gonna lost that game.
You think Austin FC will lose?
Yeah.
Wow.
2-1.
So we're gonna be 2-1 going the other way.
the other way.
Yeah. I think it's too much. I mean, from what I saw before,
here's the
Seattle,
games that are left. I mean, they're all tough. I mean,
Yeah, RSL are a good team.
RSL,
Maybe
Nashville's a good
Colorado
team.
and Vancouver, perhaps.
they're
Be some
probably
winnable games there. I
winnable
think
games.
those are winnable games.
But against Nashville, against Colorado,
Next 3 are certainly tough.
and
yeah.
Salt Lake. Okay, wow.
I'm going to
Salt
go
Lake.
draw in this one. 1-1.
Where is the chicken of indecisive?
Yeah, the
Chicken.
chicken.
The
of
chicken. I'm not gonna
indecisive.
fall off
Something you earn it.
Yeah, you. Who won it?
All right.
Who earned the chicken of indecisiveness? think
I
it was,
got
you-
1-1.
got
A
1-1.
1-1 draw.
1-1.
So yeah, Seattle are struggling. They're in 9th in the West right now. That CCL run has really seemed
It really
to take a
depleted
lot
them.
of momentum.
and it looks like Lodeiro isn't.
Nice voiceover work, David.
yeah.
You got to call Disney,
And
Pixar.
Nico Lodeiro's
on
not
some of that.
quite the player he was before. Freddie Montero's not the same type
Yeah,
of guy.
the João Paulo and Obed Vargas injuries, like losing that
Yeah,
defensive
that
midfielder.
really
Not just
hurt
your
them.
starter, but your very, very good backup in Obed Vargas.
Yeah.
I think that's really hurt them. So not quite the same team that they usually are.
Right.
Might miss the playoffs for the first time ever.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of shocking.
but still tough though. And
So, yeah.
they've not given up. I don't
in
think.
Lumen Stadium. So
Yeah.
it was loud. The Houston game.
Yeah,
I guess
let's
we
go
can
ahead.
get into
And
that now.
I think, Jerry, you got some news for us on the Houston
Houston?
Dynamo. The Houston Dynamo were in the news today. Yes,
Houston,
they have.
we
that
have a
was-
problem.
That was
Houston, we have what?
yeah.
Houston Dynamo part ways with the head coach Paulo
Yes.
Nagamura. He-
Part ways with
And
Paulo
not only
Nagamura.
him, but his 2 assistant coaches left as well.
Wow. So we were
And
talking about this a
so-
bit before we started
Right.
airing here, Jorge. What are your thoughts on this, Houston Dynamo? This was Nagamura's first season at the team, his first ever season as a head coach.
Right.
Are the Dynamo making the right decision here?
The only comparison that I could see is where Austin FC was last year. If all y'all wolf out people had your wish, where would we be this year? That's we're gonna be seeing that with Nagamura in Houston, because they,
well,
you know,
everybody made mistakes.
everybody makes mistakes, but that's where the patience on the process
patience.
is helpful. If they would have maybe had some patience with Nagamura, They could have been somewhere. They're not that bad. They just have Hector Herrera, and we won't get to into his party.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I think Houston was very patient with Nagamura.
But it's one thing that we did.
They didn't give him a full season. What do you
They,
mean?
yeah,
Very
they
patient?
could have waited.
There's no relegation here. Come on.
Can we get the standings back up again, Jerry? I'm not 100%
I wanna
sure
see
where.
We were there last
see
year.
how
and nothing
bad
happened
Houston
with
is.
Mr. Wolf.
and-
Oh, they're dead
Yeah,
last.
they're awful.
we were
Never
there.
mind. I
mean,
thought they
that
were
will
better than
happen,
that.
right?
But
It's like 29 goals.
If you look at it, they're only 5 points away from 10th. They just could have a good run. If they would have gotten a result against Seattle, I don't think we would have seen Nagamura. They beat LA previously.
But
So,
they
you know,
lost
they have
16
quality,
games.
but-
They lost 16
Yeah,
games.
and how many did we lose last year?
But we didn't get rid of Mr. Wolf.
Exactly.
And also they're
That's the
second this
point.
year.
And so, you know, a lot of people are arguing because Houston,
Yeah.
you know, they've been longer in the league, a lot more than we have, and they've had that pattern.
But
where
you have to think about that the Wolves too have to deal with a couple players that were not up to
That's
the
true.
level,
He did.
So
he
you have
did
to
have
deal with
with that.
Pochettino and Cecilio.
Which
that's-
is the
I was
case
gonna-
in Houston too.
Yeah.
No one going into the season. No one predicted Houston as a playoff.
No, they played
No one.
mid-table maybe, and they still have kind of a chance to get there.
And you
They're
get your
not
big
that far off.
signing, and he's hurt, and he's out. I guess still has time to visit
Party.
bars.
Yes.
on the,
Hector Herrera?
Oh yeah, it is.
Ache,
I mean,
ache.
Yeah.
you know, Simeone was totally right. You know, we was not up to play with Atletico.
But I think that goes to, and there's something I really want to ask you about, the difference between a coach and a manager. There's obviously a difference because you're a coach. You teach players where to position themselves, where to be, the formations, all of that.
Yeah.
But a manager manages. There's already talent on that team. A manager just handles personalities, what they can do outside of the scope of practice, in the practice.
Well,
It's-
basically
it's-
the manager,
That's what-
the coach does everything.
Right.
The coach is responsible for managing the micromanager and the big management in the field.
Right.
It's like
So-
you can maybe assign some other managers to do the dirty work.
Right.
For example, like Bielsa always had somebody to do the dirty work. Like
That's
he
what I was
was the
alluding
assistant
to,
that
yeah.
would talk bad to the players or talk strong to the players. He
Right.
wouldn't be doing that. It would make other coaches to do that.
Right.
Chupete, he would call Chupete.
Right.
Vamos que se puede. Like
Right.
they
He
would
would,
scream to,
you know, yeah.
to the but
It's a little
yeah.
good cop, bad cop kind
Yeah.
of thing going.
Yeah, so you have to have somebody to do that for you, right? Depending what kind of relationship you have as a coach, right? But yeah,
Right.
it's hard to because you have to do everything. Like as a coach, you have to do both of them.
And
To
so,
be a manager
so
and
I
a coach.
assume that for a team like Houston Dynamo, that's exactly the setup, where you have, you know, Nagamura had his assistants, and his assistants helped manage the rest of the team, but they just did not seem to have that chemistry all year. They weren't really connecting very well. And that's something that one of the, because I was hearing one of the Twitter spaces before our show, that, you know, the people could give a rat's butt about how the chemistry is, that they invite to each other's houses and they get along great outside. It's on the field of play how the chemistry goes, and they just didn't seem to gel. Even with Hector Herrera coming in, I half-heartedly expected him to be that guy that puts everybody together, and he's not the answer. And like I've said many times, there has to be more people that are added to the team. Fighters, maybe, guys that are get in the trenches, MLS veteran type guys.
I mean, here's the thing though with this Houston team, and they've done. It's been okay. Let's make a plan for next year. They're constantly hitting the reset
plan
button.
for next year.
Yeah, it's constantly hitting the reset button. And to me, if you believe in Nagamura's vision enough to hire him, you don't give him a good squad. You bring in a big DP who frankly just doesn't seem interested in playing.
Not really.
As that's your big solution midway through the season. To me, I don't think you really gave him enough of a chance. I don't think he got a fair shot. Now, I don't know if there's all kinds of player mutiny going on, anything like that.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't follow them closely enough to know
We
whether
don't
that's
really care
going
about
on.
them anyway,
Yeah,
but,
exactly. We don't really care. We're
but
doing him
still.
But that's something that happened. That happened in every team. Like,
Yeah.
you
being
have-
really
yeah,
nice, actually,
yeah.
devoting this final segment of the show to discussing them. So you're welcome, Houston Dynamo.
Yes.
fans out there. I'm sure they watch us every
Oh yeah, I'm
week.
sure they're.
But I think if you
not
believe in the
saying
guy
that.
enough to hire him, then you should give him more than a year. As you said, David, there's no relegation in MLS, so there's not really any
Pressure.
not really any
there's no
pressure, not
pressure.
really any like, okay, we have to figure this out now because otherwise we're going down to the second division.
It's a business decision at the end of the day, It's an investment decision. It's like, hey,
I mean, Hector Herrera was a business decision. They knew that they needed, but again, I mean, Houston fans are very what's the word? They're very
Angry?
Angry, but they expect
Mean?
results. They expect results, and when they don't see them, they don't go to the games. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
They don't.
that's the same thing.
I mean,
How are they going to expect results if they don't even go to the game? Doesn't make sense.
but they don't go to the games because there's no results.
like-
So they're caught up. They're caught
Like,
up in a
that
weird
stadium is always half
catch-22
empty.
thing.
That stadium is always half empty. I don't
Yeah,
get it. They
they,
don't
they
have-
fill up for Dallas for the
Yes.
for the whatever cup they play for, but that's it. And they filled up for.
When they think there might be a fight, they
Does
tend
it?
to show up for those games.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the highway.
the
I
other
think it's
game.
the highway. The
and
highway that
so
goes there.
but it's a really difficult, an unfortunate situation for Houston because it's a very big football town.
Mm-hmm.
But again, do you expect results so you can attend the fans, or the fans are going to go no matter what the team does?
Yeah.
That's the difference. I mean, that's a big difference between Houston and Austin because Austin last year we had terrible results, but every single game was sold out. Was it a little bit of fear of missing out? It's a new thing in town. Sure, there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But there was
people were there.
patience there. There was patience for the ownership to not fire this guy and start again because I'm sure they studied other teams doing the exact same thing where there's a little bit of chaos and they fire the guy, new tactics, new everything, and they start over again. And that's what's happened in Houston. They had Tab Ramos, very, very good coach.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give him the patience. Nagamura will probably end up being a good coach.
He seemed
They
to have
didn't
some
give
good
him
ideas.
the patience. So, I mean, it's hard to figure what the Houston fans want.
It's so dangerous for teams to get into this cycle of always firing the coach, always blaming the coach, and we see it all the time where teams will go through like 10 coaches over the course of 3 seasons, and it's not the coach. There's so many other issues.
My team have like 4 coaches when we win relegation, man.
I mean,
4 coaches.
We're going to 1 season.
One season. Remember
That's
when
that's
Chile went to the second? We have 4 coaches.
I got news for you. It's not the coach's fault.
Yeah,
You're that bad.
it's not that bad.
There are other issues.
There's other things, but
Oh yeah, but when they're not the coach's fault, it is the manager's fault.
right.
Right? It is the manager's fault in this case. It's the management of Houston.
But
in
I-
this case.
I-
Yeah,
agree.
but because there's teams like Seattle, they have Portland with Alvarez. There's teams that stick to their guy no matter what. Seattle's not going to fire their coach because they're not going to make the playoffs this year.
Very stupid.
Yeah, they're not going to do that. So, but that's because they understand. Because once you go to Seattle, you know what's expected of you, no matter what the player is, because there's already a system there.
Yeah.
There is no system in Houston. Depends on
Yeah.
what new coach they have.
And we do have a system in Austin. Everybody knows.
Hey,
that
we
Austin
do, and
has-
it's a good system, Davi. I think we're out of
Yeah.
time here on Football in Vivo. Great fun as always. We're gonna do this again next week. Thank you to Jerry Lopez. Thank you to Jorge Iturralde and Club Deportes. Thank you to our viewers. Do it again next week.
Yes.